for when he and Hannah Giles almost single-handedly brought down Acorn. James O'Keefe has been arrested for our cause. He's shown us who the people in charge of NPR really are. And he's been accused of selective editing by the left, of course. But you know what? The videos don't lie. They show us who these people really are. And last, and certainly not least, James O'Keefe stuffed envelopes for the Tancredo for President campaign in Virginia many years ago. So our final speaker of the night has been waiting a long time. It's going to be worth it. Please welcome James O'Keefe. Are you ready, James? I can talk forever. Here he comes. Don't worry, I won't be standing up there looking at you. Take your time.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here. I've been traveling for the last 2 months on this book, Breakthrough, it's called. And it's a New York Times bestseller. And it talks all about what I have gone through exposing government corruption over the last 7-8 years. I'm 29 years old. Over the last 8 years, I've investigated with my colleagues Planned Parenthood, Acorn, National Public Radio, Medicaid, Social Security, HUD, and voter fraud in 8 states. Our work has led to high-profile resignations, congressional action, President Obama signing a bill to defund Acorn, 3 states changing their Medicaid laws, 6 states changing their voter ID laws, Obama phone workers being fired. And as you can imagine, the government loves me. But I'm going to kind of show you a few videos today. Some of you have seen these, some of you have done. Green and leprechaun-like. We have our differences of height. In fact, I'm over 6 foot tall, so I'm not a little midget. And I'm not lucky. So, could I go into my campus dining hall and make this argument with a straight face, and would they take me seriously? So I think we have a video, if we can turn the volume all the way up, on this Lucky Charms video.
I'm a personal advisor to James and Keene, and basically they have had some unpleasant, uncomfortable experiences, some of the dining halls, and basically wanted to bring them out to your concern that you're at the dining halls, your bunkers serve Lucky Charms. And we think that this promotes negative stereotypes of Irish Americans, and we don't think it's acceptable in an academic setting, especially one higher learning. And we brought up a lot of boxes for you to look at here. And there's what appears to be an Irish American on the front cover, and he's portrayed as a little green cladded gnome, a huckster, and we think that this underlines the importance and severity of St. Patrick's Day, especially during the month of March. So, ways of what we're trying to do is appeal to.
So, can you tell me again? You feel that he's portrayed as a?
I think he's portrayed as a little green cladded gnome, and this is really, as you can see, we're not all short. But we have our differences of height, and it's stereotypical of all Irish Americans.
If I might interject quickly, the university's policy against verbal assault, defamation, and harassment starts off by saying that intolerance and bigotry are antithetical to the values of the university and are unacceptable.
So if we could just pause it for 1 second. In fact, Rutgers, after this happened, removed Charms. Because what are they going to do? I mean, if they take it seriously, they're ridiculous. But if they don't take it seriously, they're even in bigger trouble. Because if you're not taking my feelings seriously, well, then that offends me. So we do this in other places. I think we have one more clip from the University of Miami. Yes, just hit the play button.
My great-great-great-grandfather died in the Irish potato famine. Madeline's great-great-great, I can't even remember how many greats, died in the Irish potato famine as well. Several of her relatives. Would you consider us lucky?
Oftentimes when you talk to bureaucrats, you just have to keep a straight face. It's oftentimes not easy to keep a straight face, but whatever you do, do not laugh. So, we have adopted this whole methodology when we expose the corruption and the fraud and the hypocrisy, we put people into these situations. Let's skip ahead to another thing, a little more serious, voter fraud and photo ID. A lot of people say that photo ID is racist. It's racist to require that you show your driver's license. So I said, okay, just like Lucky Charms, I'll accept the premise. I'll accept the premise of this absurdity, and I will go into my local tavern and try to order a beer, and when they ask me for photo ID, I will accuse them of racism. So I think we have a video from Vermont to show that example.
And if a man who said his name was Andrew Breitbart went to Vermont hotels and bars and objected to showing ID, what would happen?
My name is Andrew.
Hi, Andrew.
Andrew Breitbart, nice to meet you. You require a photo ID here?
Yes, you do. I'm very sorry that you know, I can't serve you without ID.
You don't care? That is racist.
Yeah, you can.
Why does your hotel have this racist policy? So you're following orders. Historically, that defense doesn't do so well.
You have an ID with you?
No, I don't. I don't have the time. I don't have the resources and money to say, look, I have to quit my job to go down to the DMV and do
You don't want to
this.
bring
Or they
back
only give me a
I'm very
secret.
sorry. I can call someone from the Burlington Police Department, have them come down.
I don't want to drink very badly enough.
So if we could open up actually the Holder video. So one of the things we decided to do is we decided to go to Washington, D.C. and actually, because there's no photo ID, you can actually vote in anyone else's name. You can do it. Have you ever tried doing this? You can just walk up to the poll location and say, hey, you have a John Doe here. And they will give you the ballot. They will offer you the ballot of the person that you're asking about. So I decided to not just do it for John Doe. I decided to do it for Eric H. Holder. Go up to the very place where Mr. Holder himself personally casts a ballot, because there's no photo ID, and say, hey, you have a Holder on your list? Here you go, Mr. Holder. So watch this incredible piece of news coverage.
Of finding out if Eric Holder votes at this Nebraska Avenue church, just ask.
Do you have an Eric Holder?
The poll watcher's answer last Tuesday might dent the Attorney General's ego. The actor confirms the address.
I actually forgot my ID. I left it in the car.
As long as you're here, you're on our list, and next thing you say you are.
You sign into that poll book, and your signature serves as a verification that you are who you say you are.
Rather than sign and commit a crime punishable by up to $10,000 in fines and 5 years in prison, the actor left and didn't vote. The video thing is meant to refute Holder's contention that
those on all sides of this debate have acknowledged that in-person voting fraud is uncommon.
And an official in Holder's Justice Department told 9 News Now it is no coincidence that these so-called examples of rampant voter fraud consistently turn out to be manufactured ones. The issue of voter fraud divides Republicans who in general say they support ID requirements to stop fraud, and Democrats who argue it disenfranchises eligible voters who don't have ID.
Pause it for 1 second. So what happened is we walk up to this guy, we did this in many different states, and we just ask if they have people on the rolls, and then they proceed to offer us the ballot in the name of the person we're asking about. So we're visualizing that in-person voter fraud is possible. And of course, we had to incorporate humor into it. So as you'll see in this video towards the end, we put in a little little one-liner I'm sure you'll get a kick out of.
I actually forgot my ID.
You did, sir.
I left it in the car.
As long as you're here, you're on our list, and that's who you say you are. Okay.
I would feel more comfortable if I just send my IDs. All right, if I go get you. I'll be back faster than you can say furious.
We're not going anywhere.
So, I'll be back faster than you can say furious. So, and then of course, what Project Veritas does, unlike many other organizations, is that we're not content just complaining about how bad things are in this country. We take it to them. We go on offense, and I mean that in a very special way. Every time we do something, we get a reaction from the government. In fact, in this case, we got a reaction from Eric Holder. And Mr. Holder was forced to testify in Congress about why his ballot was offered to a stranger. We forced the most powerful legal official in our country to be held to the fire. And this is what we have to do. This is what journalists should be doing. Of course, they don't do it. Journalists have become part of the club. They like to cocktail with the government at the parties. And I don't really care about cocktailing with people at parties. I care about sticking it to the man. They have become the man. They have become the man. So they can't really do the type of prankster, Abby Hoffman style, Woodward and Bernstein stuff because they don't want to do it. But we do it. So what is the reaction to this? I think we have a couple reactions. I think we have Holder for
It hardly inspires the public confidence that a white 20-something can obtain the ballot of the first black attorney general. And there's a little video here to illustrate that point.
Makes mincemeat of these people's argument. And the fact that it was Holder is it's just delectable.
And then, of course, you have the Attorney General himself in Congress.
I wanted to also ask you about your reaction when you saw the video of the young man who claimed your ballot here some months ago.
You know, I mean, it's an attempt to show something, I suppose, but I think what I drew from that video was that that guy was very careful not to say he was Eric Holder, not to actually get a ballot. He didn't do the kinds of things that would have subjected him to criminal...
Yeah, and I'm not worried about that, but he could have obtained your ballot with ease.
So what's interesting about this is that this Attorney General of the United States just basically cleared me of all legal wrongdoing. He's like, yes, O'Keefe did not break the law, which is interesting because if you read this book, you'll see every chapter another Secretary of State trying to indict me for doing this very thing. And I actually got to send this video of all those, Secretary of State and be like, what now? And actually, one of the people who tried to indict me in New Hampshire, because we did this in New Hampshire with dead people were voting. It's all in the book. And the Attorney General of New Hampshire, I really can't make this up, and I will camouflage this because I know we have children in the audience, but this guy's name in New Hampshire, the Attorney General, his name is Richard Head. He doesn't obviously he doesn't like to go by Dick. So this guy, Richard Head, was working with Holder or someone in the FBI because they sent FBI agents to my colleagues' home. The stuff we've been through has truly been extraordinary, but this was one of my favorite moments. There's so many moments like this. I wish I could be here for hours showing you all of these interesting developments. But I wanted to move on to another one. All of you know about it, but I wanted to show you the Daily Show piece on the Acorn. So if we could move to the Acorn story, talk a little bit about